Welcome to Bermuda, you visitors, Canadian, US, and others. On this date, July 2nd, was the opening of Bermuda in 1959. So we had the 55th anniversary of the success of the theater boycott. Just turn to a person next to you and give them a high five. 55, give them a high five. Celebrate them, celebrate freedom, celebrate Bermuda. We have for you this evening a small drama that is going to give you an insight into that theater boycott. Let's welcome the actors to the stage. Thank you.
In a very segregated Bermuda, where equality of services and the right to vote were amongst the several number of social issues plaguing the island, various groups of people began meeting informally to discuss the need for change. Stanley Rattery, who had recently graduated, organized meetings in February 1959 for a committee called the Progressive Group.
Stan Rattery, dental graduate, 1954. Returning to Bermuda felt like a time warp. Imagine Bermuda in the 1950s, which was fairly regressive. Blacks couldn't sit in the balcony of the island theater or enter many of the island's hotels. I decided we needed to bring about a change. So I set about looking for like minds such as
Elizabeth Maxwell, scholar at St. Francis of Xavier, a Catholic university, where a movement supporting social justice for farmers and fishermen was based. While I got my bachelor's in mathematics, I spent a fair amount of time in that movement. The student skills also helped me when I approached by Stan, running the Progressive Group.
Members had to be vetted first.
So girl, challenging the status quo.
my thought was that we can do it if we can maintain the utmost secrecy.
Keep it from your wives, your husbands, don't even tell yourself.
The powers that be didn't know who we were.
For fear of retribution,
Possible retaliation against family.
future employers,
Of concern that as young blacks we may not be taken seriously.
So if no one knew, we can keep personality out of it.
It turned out to be a master stroke of strategy.
Brilliant!
About 15 or so people, mainly in their late 20s, gathered, who were predominantly professionals and all recent university graduates. These meetings took place mostly at Roslyn and Edward Williams' home in Flats, and involved this group, a group kept in the utmost secrecy.
Explore ways to challenge the status quo and bring about change.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell us so.
They decided that they would challenge the system of segregation by focusing on the movie theater. Their plan was to have a boycott.
A boycott. To not support an idea or function.
A boycotting of the theaters to start June 15th, 1959.
But they needed to find out the easiest way to publicize it without blowing their
Blowing their cover.
Tell nobody.
Don't tell us so.
They started making up some handmade posters and leaflets, but realized they needed a duplicating
A
machine.
photocopier, 1959 style.
Now, while some of them were teachers and had access to such machines at their schools, they did not wish to chance it. Remember?
Don't tell us so.
So they decided to purchase one, but they were initially at a loss as to how to do this while keeping their
cover.
Don't
tell us so.
Gerald and Izola Harvey were two members of the Progressive Group, and they came up with a solution when their neighbor, Betty Kawley, asked them to house two of their former schoolmates, Anna and Ruth.
Now the two were Canadians.
Izola found the two guests to be very friendly, and knowing they had been long-term friends of Betty, she came up with the idea of having the two make the purchase for the cause.
I was worried that we wouldn't get a hold of the duplicating machine. Imagine Betty having two friends coming down just at this time. Now, they must have been pretty loyal. Could you imagine coming all the way down to Bermuda to visit a black friend? We must be able to trust them. Here I am, 5 months pregnant in this Bermuda heat. Can't you tell? But I wanted to do it because I trust that this will make Bermuda a better place. Yes, Bermuda.
After reflecting on this idea with her husband, she approached the two Canadian visitors with her request, and they agreed.
They agreed.
Willing to assist.
After they agreed to carry it out, she reminded them that they should not reveal their role to anyone.
Don't tell
Tell us all.
Now Gerald, he owned a taxi and drove Anna and Ruth to Hamilton the next morning. Not far from the Ria Luma store.
Just around the corner from here.
Good news, flying colors.
The two,
Anna and Ruth,
got out of the car and they went in to make the purchase.
Well, this is something. I knew this first trip to Betty's beloved Bermuda would be an adventure, but I never expected anything like this. How could we not accept Isola's request and get this mimeograph?
Hey, it looks like this plan is a vital step for this place. It's a reminder that our own freedom is freedom for all.
Absolutely. Now, let's get ourselves together so we can pull this thing off. Tourists buying a duplicating machine?
It's because we were told that Bermuda has some good European items. Now, let's look like serious shoppers.
I hope this goes okay. Once we get that machine, we can get some large batches of flyers done up, and I can use the taxi to drop them off in the various locations.
Rosalind Williams comes walking by.
Hi, Gerald. What are you doing in town? Are you working?
Oh, Roz, yes, just working. I can't talk too loud about the duplicating machine. Someone might hear us. Oh yes, Roz, just working.
Okay, let me move along. When you come by tonight, make sure that you park by the aquarium. I have a feeling that some folks are growing suspicious about the house. We'll hide the machine in my kitchen ceiling.
She's one focused woman.
Well, that wasn't too bad. I thought it was a bit touch and go and we couldn't seem to get our stories straight about why we were buying a duplicator in Bermuda. Exactly.
They carried it out to the taxi and put it in the car. Gerald and Isola took the machine to Rosalind's home that evening, and they began running off leaflets about the boycott. And at 10:30 p.m. on June 11th, the members of the progressive group began their first nerve-wracking phase of the protest. They synchronized their watches, scattered to different locations on the island, and without being detected, executed a coordinated drop of the flyers and posters across various locations around Bermuda, announcing the boycott and its start date.
June 15th, 1959.
The theater boycott begins.
It started slowly.
Arrogantly be dismissed as
A storm in a teacup.
They think a storm is a hurricane, a storm is a tornado, a cyclone, and fire wrapped up into one. Now that's a storm, and you can't fit into no damn
a
teacup.
storm in a teacup.
But the boycott soon gathered steam thanks to activist Kingsley Tweed.
And Richard Duck Lynch.
Both of whom had no direct connection with the progressive, nor were they concerned about secrecy reservations.
Because they fired up the crowds who gathered outside the Island and Playhouse theaters in Hamilton with their
June
speeches.
23rd.
The 23rd of June, 1959.
The boycott crippled movie
Made
theaters
them crumble.
to the point they had to close their doors due to lack of business.
Yes.
The boycott is working.
Theater owners
With the desire to negotiate,
demanded that the members of the progressive group come out
However, they refused.
peacefully. It's important to know that it was a
the boycott continued.
And on July 2nd,
The 2nd of July,
55 years ago exactly
Exactly, to this
in
day.
just merely 2 weeks of boycott,
theater owners capitulated,
surrender,
yielded,
Gave up to give way.
and announced the end of segregated seating.
The theater boycott succeeded beyond the wildest hopes of the organizers. It ended segregation in Bermuda's public places in a matter of days, while also demonstrating the value of non-violent protest as the primary means to accomplish that systematic change. When we consider the personal groups that prompted the movement of racial equality all around the globe, it is fair to say that in Canada, that person was Viola Desmond. In the United States, it was Rosa Parks' December 1st, 1955 arrest that gave national prominence to Dr. Martin Luther King. In South Africa, that person was Nelson Mandela. And in Bermuda, after 40 years of secrecy, we identify and acknowledge the members of the Progressive Group.
Dr. Stanley Rattle,
Edward and Rosalind Vinnie.
Clifford Wade,
Barbara Phillips, Coleridge Williams,
Rudolph and Vera Feliciano,
Clifford and Lawrence Maxwell,
Eugene Wood.
Esme and Lancelot Swan,
Dr. Ernestine Bennett, William Francis,
William
and
Walden.
Gerald and Isola Harvey.
We thank you for your vision of hope
and equality.
For the Bermuda we live in today.